and everyone can have their tabletop in front of them, and Post-its, little pieces of paper are fine, and a pen as well. We're going to do something a little bit different tonight. So it's going to be interactive, and all of us have done Constellation work, so that's great. We're all going to actually guide and facilitate this together. We're going to be adding parts, so I want you guys to really be facilitating actively too. I'm going to flip my camera so that you can see my tabletop, and we're going to just take this one step at a time. And I'm going to flip my camera. So the first thing let's do is let's actually place ourselves into the field. So we're going to write on a Post-it me with an arrow. We just kind of place ourselves in the center here. And let's just get really present to me. And this is bringing ourselves into the field. Just notice how you're experiencing yourself right now. Notice how you're experiencing life.
Sorry.
Okay. What thoughts and feelings, sensations, perhaps memories are coming up for you? Just noticing how you're reacting right now as well in your body with thoughts. Just getting really present. And let's all become aware of the field. All become aware of each other as well, too, on this call. And if you're watching the replay, just becoming aware of those connected to the field. And we're gonna start placing parts into our field here. And I want each of you to feel into what you want to add to your field. Perhaps it could be some support. It could be the ancestors, angels, guides. It could be attributes, so it could be love, etc. And I want you to each to feel into perhaps something showing up for you. And go ahead, and when that happens, go ahead and speak to that, and we'll all place that into the field. Who wants to add something?
The ancestors?
The ancestors? Okay, let's do that. So we'll all write the ancestors. And go ahead and place the ancestors in your field wherever it feels appropriate for you. And perhaps you're placing them in and there's a movement. Following where that is for you. So you can place your hand on the piece of paper representing the ancestors and you as well. And listen for any messages. Do the ancestors have anything to say to you? And let's listen. Feeling yourself receiving that. Seeing who is showing up as the ancestors. They could be yours and others as well. Is there a wisdom there? Perhaps your ancestors are saying something to you, and perhaps the ancestors are also giving you another message. So listening to those. If there's a request or an ask from you to your ancestors, to the ancestors, please communicate that. I'm noticing the ancestors have some gifts to give. Perhaps reaching out and receiving those gifts. And now, if there's a movement to wherever you have your ancestors, if there's another movement, go ahead and make that movement for them. Perhaps it is supporting you from behind, or it could be in front of you as well. Just feel where that is for you. And then noticing how that feels to have them support you in that way. If there is something to say as far as seeing them and remembering that they are here. I see you. I know you're here. Let's communicate that. Who else wants to add something into the field, or if anything is shown up for you? Can be support or anything else. Who wants to add something?
I'd like to add my guides.
Let's do it. So let's write my guides. And feel where you want that in your field. I instinctively would want to put them in front of me to see them. Just feel how that feels for you. You can place your hand on my guides, asking them to show up, asking them to appear right now in full communication. You can place your other hand also on me, and let's see your guides, and perhaps you're seeing them in your mind's eye. However your senses perceive your guides. What do they look like? And let's tune into what they're saying, if there's any messages there. Ask your guides what it is they want you to know. Is there something that they want to give you? Is there a request from you to your guides? Ask that request or question. How do your guides respond? Let's see your guides a little bit more clearly. communicate to them how you would like for them to communicate to you. And perhaps asking for clear and gentle communication, clear and gentle guidance. Is there anything specifically in any area that you'd like them to be more clear with their support? Okay. So again, after that's communicated, go ahead and place your guides wherever it feels comfortable for you, right for you. And so perhaps that is to your side, noticing how that feels for you. How does it feel to have them in that place? So again, feeling the ancestors supporting you and your guides also supporting you. And who else has something they want to add in the field? And this could be something that you want to experience for yourself as well within you. Something maybe that you feel is missing, that you feel is missing. Or that you'd like more of.
Can we add purpose?
Purpose? Sure. So let's write purpose. Purpose with that arrow. And let's first look at it. So placing your hand on purpose, let's feel into how that occurs. Noticing right away if there's a movement for purpose, because it's purposeful. So noticing its energy, its focus. When you stand in the shoes of purpose, it may actually feel like a magnet or of sorts. So it may want to be beside you. Just noticing how that is for you. So I'm sensing some movement over here. I'm actually gonna make that movement. And if that's there for you, you can place purpose beside you. See how that supports you. Perhaps it's pointing to a certain direction. Feel the guidance within purpose. See if there's any messages there. And if it calls to you right now, let's integrate purpose with me, with you. So we're going to place purpose underneath me, and let's integrate me with purpose. So feeling into both me and purpose together, and let's just take a few moments to feel the integration. How does that energy feel now that it's integrated with you? Perhaps you now feel a propelling movement forward. That's there for you. You can actually take that step. Bringing the ancestors with you and your guides. So noticing if there's other movement as well. So I feel like, I'm not sure whose field I'm feeling into, but there was a turn here. So just follow your movement. Like a pivot. Noticing how that feels with purpose to turn and look at this option, and then with purpose, turn and look at this option. So again, noticing how the experience of you are when there's the purpose integrated with you. Who else wants to add something to the field?
I would like to add something. I call it inner wise self. Most people, I guess, call it higher self. So whatever works for you.
You said inner wise self?
Yeah.
I like that.
It works way better for me than higher self.
Yes, thank you.
I don't know. We had a constellation where that kind of came out. There's a reason where the higher self doesn't do its trick for me.
Yeah, thank you, Nicole. And like Nicole said, if the words are, if you identify with different words, please adjust that. And you can always, when we place this into the field, if it does feel like it wants to be described using different words, you can always change the words. Okay, so let's place an inner wise self, placing your hand on inner wise self. Let's allow this first to come into the field. How does she show up? Noticing if there's, noticing her characteristics. Perhaps you're seeing her visually. Feeling her energy, wisdom. Character, demeanor. And let's also place your other hand on me. Still feeling purpose within you. And let's look at inner wise self. Also, as you do this, feeling into the support that's around you. You may also be noticing that you're still receiving information from your guides. So tuning into that and the support from your ancestors. How does that feel? So inner wise self, let's hear what she wants to say. See if there's see what it is for you. See if there's something she wants to give you. And it feels like it's different for everyone. Receive that. This wisdom, knowledge. Receive that, hold that. Open it up, if that's open upable for you. Look at it. Perhaps you're placing that in your heart, in your mind. Perhaps that gift is for your soul. If there's anything to say to your inner wise self, please say it. Or if there's a request, please request it. Is there something you'd like some more wisdom around? Okay, now feel where inner wise self belongs in your constellation. You may integrate with her now if that feels right for you. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So integrating me with purpose and inner wise self. Again, feeling into all three of those together, feeling the integration. Let's just take a few moments to feel that. Notice the awareness that you now have. How does it feel to have this within you, this energy, information, resonance, vibration within your body? So feeling that energy move. And then again, noticing the awareness that you now have throughout your body. Who wants to add another part?
I would love to add, I don't know what to exactly call it, but earth spirit or spirits of nature, nymphs or fairies, or I'm not really sure what we should call it.
I'm going to call it all of that. So
All of that?
spirits of nature, and then let's do that. We'll put in parentheses as well.
Okay.
So spirits of nature. And you said fairies. Did I spell that
Yes,
wrong?
fairies and nymphs. Nymphs?
Yeah, I spelled that wrong.
I
Fairies.
don't know.
Oh my gosh. And then is it NYMPHS?
NYPA.
Is that what
Sounds good to me.
any other spirits of nature that we want to add? And I think we can also put etc.
Etc.
These are, and we'll clarify, these are spirits of nature who have our greatest good.
Who have our greatest good.
Only the energies that are in their greatest good can enter our field. And that is declared before we start our session. So just to be clear. So let's place this in front of me. And we can place our hand on spirits of nature. Allowing them to come forth. Feels like many of them are very playful. So seeing them, how they interact with nature. How they're enjoying nature. So see how this shows up for you. Perhaps you are seeing a scene. So just following the scene and how they're interacting with nature. How does nature respond? What is that world? And then we can leave one hand on spirits of nature and the other hand on me integrated, and let's look at them. Connect with them. You may want to take a step to them. If that's there for you, go ahead and do that. Perhaps joining them. Seeing yourself with them. I'm also noticing if there's younger parts of you that are joining and playing, so joining with them. And let's tune into the energy of, and I'm also hearing purpose of them as well. So let's tune into that. Perhaps they can become more clear with what their jobs are or what they're doing. Is there, see if there's any communication from them to you or you to them. I'm feeling perhaps there may be a movement now to have them go beside you and join you on this journey if that's there for you. Go ahead and place them beside you. And if there's another movement or someplace else, go ahead and put that there. So let's feel into how that feels to have them beside you or wherever else they moved. They could have actually been, over here kind of pulling you forward as well. So just feel into that. So I'm just noticing that when they go beside me, there's this playful energy that I get to, that it feels like me gets to journey with and play with. So noticing if that's there for you. How do you relate to the spirits of nature? How are they supporting you? Okay, who wants to add another part in the field? And I'll check in with you guys now. So standing in your shoes here, integrated with the support around you. If I can get a few shares, if we can get a few shares, how does it feel to stand in your shoes with this support around you through this constellation? What messages were received, exchanged? Would anyone like to share?
When we brought in the ancestors, the message that I got was, what you do today improves the past. I think what that means is time like goes back both ways. We feel like if we heal the past, we do better now. But then if we do better now, we also heal the past. So it was a very like trippy time is fluid sort of vibe.
Yeah.
So
Thank
it was
you.
good. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Yeah, our concept of time as being linear is not as it actually is. So it's like when we do constellation work, we can experience the healing of the ancestors past through time. And that also means there's a recoding as well in the past. We can kind of feel that in the field during constellations. Thank you for that, Chiaki. Anyone else want to share? Can I just check in with you guys? How are you doing?
When we brought in the fairies, or spirits of nature, I'm just aware of, like, I see them and I feel them. I'm feeling like maybe I can't connect in some way. Or maybe it's just very different from other ways that connection feels. I probably wouldn't have shared that otherwise if no one else is speaking up, but I'm not really sure what to make of that, what that means, or
Yeah. So perhaps it's building a relationship with them.
that makes
And
sense.
when you looked at them, were you able to see them?
Yes, it just felt, yes, I could see them.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it just felt like I was looking at somebody that I don't know. So maybe that's what it is.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing when I feel into that is we just it's building a relationship. We just don't know each other yet. So perhaps there's getting to know each other. So just sit with that, and you may ask them to um, show themselves to you more and play with you more, or however they appeared for you. Perhaps there's a request from you to them in that way. So just feel into that. Thank you for sharing that. Elaine or Nicole, can you guys share how this was for you so far?
I guess I can say with the ancestors, I felt a lot of energy in my lips and my eyes. And I at first thought, and I saw my grandmother, who I wasn't close to at all, but it felt like maybe I need to speak for her. But usually when I think speak, it's my throat. So it was just weird that it was in my lips. So I was just sort of wondering, just feeling that. I don't know. As we were adding the guides and the spirits of nature, I could feel more energy in my whole body. The spirits of nature were like I just wanted to go walk in the grass barefooted really bad. Really, really bad. But I felt like I felt my whole being sort of energized by it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Nicole, can we hear from you?
Sure, I just don't know what to say. I added an extra piece actually. It's kind of personal, so I added crystals since they seem to be important in my life, and that was lovely because it's a very mutual thing that they show up for me, but I also have to show up for them. It's like in a way kind of the way they feel is like I'm somewhat like a, what's the word for that? who can speak for them. So like an ambassador or a bridge or whatever. And they also support me. So there was just kind of this mutual exchange, and it's not so much in words, it's also a felt thing. So that's why I'm having a little bit of trouble to kind of speak to that.
Yes. Wonderful. Thank you. So I think let's feel into your own fields again, and before we end the constellation, just add any last part for you. So any last thing you want to add to your field, if there's anything. Again, it can be an experience, a feeling, some sort of support. You can actually just write support, resource. You could write resource on a Post-it and see what shows up for you as a resource. You can look at my blessings. So we'll just take a few moments to have you place any last parts into your field. And you can look at them first. And if it's something that you want to integrate with, you can place that underneath you. Noticing how that adding your own part to your field shifts, supports, how that feels for you. Noticing the strength received when you add your own part to your field. Facilitating your own constellation. We'll just take a few last moments here and just ask the field if there's any other messages for you to receive, and let's just listen. And receive that. Noticing the energy of receiving that. And one last thing, we'll continue to ask our guides, and please do this in your own way, to support you, to give you clear and gentle communication. Asking the ancestors to also support you, resourcing you, sending you many, many, many blessings, and asking the spirits of nature to make themselves known, to connect with you, to especially now build this relationship with them. Okay, I think we'll end this here. And as always, you can leave this out afterwards. You can place this, tape them to an 8.5 by 11 and revisit this constellation. If you want, you can even just keep out your guides and the ancestors and just really communicate with them regularly, using the post-it notes. And then eventually you don't really need to, but it's always nice to really get clear messages through channeling through constellations through the field. So just kind of training yourself to communicate with them, feel their support. All right, guys. If there's any last comments, we'll open it up for like 10 seconds. If anything's dying, everyone's dying to say anything, please share. Yeah.
I'll say I kind of got the message that the decisions that I made some long ago were that I made them with faith, and that I should still trust, because I sort of sometimes see them as mistakes. And I just kind of got the message to stay with it, to learn the lesson that I chose when I chose that path. So it was kind of like more faith rather than like beating myself up for making mistakes, for the difficulties that I might be in right now.
Yeah. Clear. Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being on the Zoom sesh. I appreciate it. Again, we're still doing the morning meditations, or not necessarily morning for everyone, 6 or 8 a.m. EST, Pacific time. I think we're on day 16 of 28. So welcome to join those. They're also on replay on YouTube, just as fabulous on the replay. Thank you guys for joining us, for partaking, and we'll see you next time.
Bye. Thank you.